Friday, December 8th. I'm your host, Sarah Beal. On today's show, we have our Arts and Culture segment featuring musician Kathy Spirites. And then we'll get an HYCC update from Joe Izzo. And finally, we chat with Animal Control Officer Cindy Sherman. But first, let's get a look at today's top headlines. School committee member and former chair Margot Weber has resigned. She made the announcement at this week's school committee meeting.
For just to pursue other opportunities. I'm submitting my resignation from the school committee. But I would like to read this. It's a letter to our new chair. It is with mixed emotions that I submit my resignation as a member of the Barnstable School Committee. I am extremely proud of the work that we have accomplished during my service on the committee, and I have enjoyed working with all of my fellow committee members. I am grateful to our superintendents, administrators, teachers, and staff. I have learned a lot from all of you and will continue however I can to support your efforts on behalf of all of the students of Barnstable. Thank you all.
Margot, thank you for all that you've done for the district. It's in a better position you leaving it than when it started, and we've been fortunate to have you.
Thank you. Clearly it was a difficult decision, but I'm looking forward to future prospects. Thank you.
Thank you.
After Weber made her announcement, Superintendent of Schools Meg Mayo Brown offered her thanks and support.
Margot, I just also want to personally thank you. As I've said to you on many occasions, one of the main factors in me coming to the district was to see the manner in which you as chair led the committee with such a degree of integrity and transparency. It was nothing like I had ever experienced. And so I'm just very grateful to have had the opportunity to work with you for the past year and a half, and just really have the deepest appreciation for both who you are as a chair, as a person, as a model, as a woman. And you've just, I think it's great for particularly our female students to see a woman of your character in a leadership role. So thank you for all that you have done.
Thank you, Meg. Thank you all.
Good luck to Margot on her future endeavors. We enjoyed having her as a guest here on Barnstable Today. A new vendor has taken over the Barnstable Municipal Airport Cafe. Cape Cod Coffee of Mashpee is now in the cafe located in the airport terminal. They will offer visitors and travelers pastries, bagels, muffins, grab-and-go salads, grab-and-go sandwiches, as well as their signature coffee. Free parking will be available to the public in designated spaces near the cafe. The cafe hours will be 5:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. The 25th session of Inside Barnstable Town Government at Citizens Leadership Academy will begin Tuesday, January 30th. The Academy is an 11-week commitment with the goal of educating the citizens of Barnstable about the operations of town government while also obtaining valuable feedback from those citizens participating in the Academy. To date, over 700 Barnstable residents and employees have taken part in the program. The classes will be on Tuesday evenings from 6:30 to 9 p.m. and will be held in various locations throughout the town. The program is free of charge and open to anyone who resides or works in the town of Barnstable. Class size is limited, so please register early to avoid the waiting list. Applications are available at the Town Manager's Office or online at townofbarnstable.us. Up next, this week's Arts and Culture segment highlighting local musician Kathy Spirites.
I'm Melissa Chartrand. In today's art segment, I spent time with the musician Kathy Spirites to talk about the hammered dulcimer, a musical instrument you may not be that familiar with, but Kathy has come to know and love. It is certainly not the most portable item, but she manages just fine, and as an added treat, you'll hear some playing time as well.
the history of the dulcimer, the modern dulcimer, started in Germany. We do think the cousins, the precursor to the modern dulcimer, were the zither and the pluck psaltery. I mean, you will see pictures in some of the old cathedrals or in stone of angels playing, even with hammer, some kind of long hammer that is what looks to be an instrument with strings stretched across a trapezoidal base, you know. So that's what we know is the history, and it is the precursor to the modern piano, because we're hitting the strings that are stretched across wood and on top, and you know the piano has, you know, hammers underneath the top. I was in Roanoke, Virginia, and a group called No Strings Attached came to this festival that I was attending, and I heard it, and I said, I'm going to play that one day. I will buy myself one. And 2 years later, I moved to Seattle, and it just so happens the largest maker of this instrument, Dusty Strings, is in Seattle, and that's where I got my first one. And it was a much smaller, fewer strings than the one I'm playing now, but that was my start. And I got a teacher out there, and I didn't read music, so it was all by ear or watching. I watched him, if he did this, I did that. And I mean, yeah, I think back now, since my memory is not quite as sharp as it was in my mid-30s, I thought it was pretty cool that I would go home from each lesson and I would remember what he taught me. Well, it calms me. I just love the sound. I love hearing the sound myself. I love playing the songs that I want to hear. So I often use it as my stress release at home. And if I'm sad or even happy, I'll play my dulcimer. And of course, I'll choose the tune based on the feeling. But that is, it's just very calming and meditative, the way I play, because I'm not much of a contradance percussionist player. I like the lusher, more melodic, harmonic songs, and that's what I usually play. Well, when I first came to Cotuit, the first time I really played in public was at the Cotuit Center for the Arts. They were doing this solstice, no, it wasn't a solstice, Christmas program, which was a medieval program, the way they put together music and some stories. And so I was the intermission music, because dinner was served in between the first act and then the second act. And so I played music, and that was 12 nights in a row. Well, not in a row, but you know, within 3 weeks, and that was fun. So now I've played at different events. I've played at a couple solstice programs. I've played at a couple church programs, but now I've just taken a program with the Music for Healing in Transition, and I'm learning how to play one-on-one at the bedside of people who are ill or dying, and that's I think going to be a very interesting way to deliver therapeutic or healing and calm music. It's always been a calling to play the instrument, but it's mostly been a calling internally, and I've answered the call to myself. But now at this stage, I do feel the call to play for others. And I mean, even if I just went to set myself up in the park in Hyannis, I would love that, and just be playing music that would be going along on the breeze, and to whoever's out there having a picnic or sitting there watching the water, the kind of background music. I'd be happy doing that. I'm happy doing that.
a beautiful sentiment to hear about Kathy's love for playing for others. To learn more about Kathy Spertise, find her online at kathysdulcimer.com. And to learn more about the events and programs in the town of Barnstable, head to artsbarnstable.com. For Inside Arts Barnstable, I'm Melissa Chartrand, wishing you an artful day.
Coming up, we'll talk with Animal Control Officer Cindy Sherman. But first, let's find out what's going on at the HYCC with Program Manager Joe Izzo. Joe, thank you so much for joining us today. It's the holiday season, and a part of that is there's a synchro skating event coming up this weekend. And I don't know, is this the first time there's been a synchro event hosted at the HYCC?
The short answer is yes for this event, Sarah.
Yeah,
that's super easy for me to say.
Yeah,
but Born Skating Club puts on an annual synchronized skating competition called the Cape Cod Classic, and for the last 36 years they've held it at the Gallo Arena in Bourne, and the program has just really taken off, and they've had just a ton of teams and a ton of skaters want to participate, so they reached out to us, having this beautiful facility here in Hyannis with two rinks. And they approached us, and probably about a year ago, maybe just under a year ago, and said, would there be an opportunity for us to move the event here to Hyannis and utilize both ice surfaces? And we were thrilled with the opportunity, and here we are this weekend, looking forward to hosting the Cape Cod Classic for the first time ever at the HYCC.
That's wonderful. Now, is it going to be a 2-day event just on Saturday? What's the schedule look like?
It's a 2-day event, and the schedule is pretty packed. They'll come in and start setting up today, Friday night, and but basically the skating and the competition takes place on Saturday and Sunday. The teams will come in and start skating about 6:30 Saturday morning, and they'll use the ice all the way up until about 10 o'clock Saturday night, and then do the same thing on Sunday. Come in at 6:30, and they wrap up on Sunday afternoon.
Wow.
But the bulk of the competition is during the time when most people are awake, which is good. I believe on Saturday it starts around 10:30. For the first bit of competition, and that'll go straight through the evening. And then on Sunday, kind of the same thing. I believe it starts about 9:30 or 10 o'clock. So the early morning hours allows the teams and the skaters to have some practice ice to get out and get the blood flowing a little bit. And then by the time mid-morning rolls around, they're ready to compete on the ice.
Very cool. I have to say, if you haven't seen a synchro skating event, I've been in the past to this event in Bourne because my niece used to be on a synchro team. And it is just so cool to watch because it's not like you're used to seeing with skating. It's synchro for a reason. They're skating in synchronicity with each other, and it's so cool to see them move across the ice. And
yeah, it sure is. It's mesmerizing to watch them all skate together in unison. And we're thrilled to have it here, and it's open to the public. People can come. They will be selling tickets at the door, admission to come in and watch the events. They have a single-day pass and a 2-day pass that you can purchase, and they offer discounts for seniors and for the military, and kids under 5 are free. So it's going to be just a great weekend here at the HYCC. I think at last count they had about 87 teams and 1,200 skaters expected.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah, so we're really looking forward to it. The guys and gals here at the HYCC have been working hard getting the building ready, and we're going to be ready to put on an awesome show this weekend.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
We also want to talk about some opportunities for maybe if people are trying to think of presents to get for kids coming up in the holiday season. You guys have some great chances. You can get punch cards for skating. You can buy memberships. And you also have program bucks. So, these are all things that are for sale. Anytime the HYCC is open, people can come down and purchase these. And what can you tell me about what they can do with these different items?
Oh, my goodness. Pretty much you can do anything that's available in the building here at the HYCC. Like you said, whether it's for memberships or for skating or for skate sharpening, open gym, to use the walking track. Really, the sky's the limit. So I know this time of year people start to scramble a little bit. What do you do for the Secret Santa in the office, or if you need something for your mailman, or if you're struggling we have tons of options here, and at all different price points. So if you're looking for a $10 something for the stocking, this is definitely a great place to go, and something that can be utilized throughout the entire year.
Yeah, and if you have a kid or an adult in your life that you know would enjoy these things, I mean, this is the perfect gift.
Definitely.
You know, if you have a skater in your family and you know that they want to get out on the ice, this might be the push that they need. If you get them a punch card, they can come and skate at their leisure when you have open skate times. So, I mean, it's you can't go wrong. I mean, if you know someone's going to like it.
Definitely, yeah. And actually, I was talking to a family recently who purchased a punch card for public skating, and what they were going to do with the card is have the whole family come on a single day.
Oh, that's perfect.
So, but they buy the card, which takes care of the admission for everybody in the family, and to really just make a full day out of it, which I thought was it's just such a cool idea.
Yeah.
Because it's not just something under the tree or some sort of gift. This thing has turned into an event where the family comes together and everyone gets out, and maybe some people can skate, maybe some people can't really skate that well, but they're all out there on the ice together having a good time, and I thought that was pretty awesome.
That is pretty cool. And the last thing we want to talk about is there's always an opportunity for businesses if they're looking to, buy ad space at the HYCC.
Definitely, yeah. We have all kinds of advertising opportunities, sponsorships here in the building. Whether it's in the gym or in the rinks or in other spaces, or whether it's through sponsoring a team in one of the programs. We're always looking for community partners. Whether you want to help build your brand through some signage in the building, or you just want to give back to families and folks who use the building, there's tons of different opportunities for ways for people to get involved, and that's kind of what we're always looking for. I mean, we have such a unique facility here where we welcome so many different people throughout the year. I mean, this weekend alone, we're looking at 1,200 skaters from pretty much across the country that will be coming in, and next week we'll have another, whether it's high school hockey or basketball or another group of lots of people coming in. So the building obviously gets a ton of use, and it's a great opportunity to brand your business or your community group or whatever message you'd like to get out there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Joe, for joining us today and talking to us about all these wonderful opportunities at the HYCC. And I hope people get out this weekend and check out the Synchro event.
Yeah, me too. And if you are in the area over the weekend and you do notice a lot of traffic in and around the area, or you see a lot of people dining on Main Street or walking, down to the docks, just be gracious, give them a smile, and thank them for coming, because this is just going to be a wonderful event with lots of people into our community, into Hyannis and Barnstable. So I'm super excited about it.
Well said, Joe. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Sure. Thanks, Sarah.
Talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
My guest today was Joe Izzo. He is the HYCC Program Manager. Cindy, thank you so much for joining us today and coming to the studio. It's the holiday season, and I know a lot of people are thinking about pets as presents, and we kind of wanted to talk a little bit about, maybe some of the pros and cons and things that people need to think about if they are going to do a pet as a present.
Of course. Well, that's the thing, people think that, kittens, puppies, even, adult cats and dogs, they think they make great gifts, which they do. But what people don't always understand is the long term. Mm-hmm. These pets they require a lot of attention, food, shelter, medical needs. It's not just a one-time gift, you open it up and enjoy it for the day, or, it's not something you can just set aside and forget about.
Yeah, a pet is a life, for the pet, it's a lifelong commitment for the life of the pet. Cats can live 15, 20 years, dogs can live 10 to 15 years depending on the size, and it's a large commitment, and people really need to think about that when they think about giving a gift that is a pet.
Absolutely. I try to remind people that it's not just something that you buy, that you're going to own. It's when you adopt a cat or a dog, you're adopting that pet into your family. Yeah. It's now part of your family, and you've got to be able to give it the attention it needs. you've got to make sure that it's a good fit for your home as well. Sometimes, you know, people think, let's get so-and-so this, you know, for Christmas, but you've got to make sure that that's going to be a good fit as well.
Yeah, you don't want to get a puppy and then in, you know, 6 months to a year, that puppy is now 100 pounds.
Right, exactly. You got to think about all those things. Do your research before, you know, make sure you know your town's bylaws and regulations. Make sure you know what kind of needs that pet has, temperament, all of that, you know.
Yeah, speaking of the town bylaws, if you were to adopt a dog over the holidays, what is the time frame for getting it licensed?
Well, you have till the dog, you have 30 days or till the dog is 6 months of age, whichever comes first. You know, but at that time, you have to make sure that the dog is all up to date, has all its vaccinations, and you take your proof of rabies, you know, to the town clerk's office. But if it's a puppy, then by the time the dog reaches 6 months, but if it's already over that age, then you have 30 days. You want to, you know, do that as soon as possible.
Right. And there's no licenses needed for a cat.
No, cats.
But you do want to make sure that they have all their shots.
Absolutely, cats are required state law to be vaccinated as well. They must be vaccinated, but we don't have any leash laws or any regulations on the cats. You know, cats can be they can wander a lot. You know, sometimes I always recommend that you keep your cat indoors, but it's not a law, it's not a regulation, but you got to remember there are coyotes out there and whatnot. So if you do let your cat outdoors, you want to kind of make sure that he's in at night and make sure you know where your pet is.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, we're getting into the colder weather. Do you have any tips that people should be, or suggestions that you'd like people to think about with their animals this winter and ways to keep them safe?
Well, for one, if you're taking your pet with you somewhere and you think you're going to be gone for a while, you got to think about that. You don't really want to leave the pet animal in the car when it's starting to get this cold. And even if you're going to be gone for, you know, if you're used to leaving your dog outside, you know, you don't want to leave them out too long if you think you're going to be gone, if the weather's going to turn, you know. Make sure that your pet has the proper shelter and, you know, bedding in the dog house if it's a dog that's outside. And definitely watch the weather, you know, pay attention to the weather advisories, things like that.
Yeah. There's going to be snow in the forecast, so you definitely want to be sure that, you know, your dog or your cat are in and safe.
Definitely.
This is important.
Yeah, and the dogs too, you also, another thing people don't always realize is, you know, their paws. You might want to wipe their feet when they come in, you know, be careful where they're walking on certain ice melt and different chemicals that can burn their feet.
Yeah, it can be an irritant, and it's also, you know, it's always good to make sure that the pads on their feet, they're very sensitive, and you know, if it's slippery or if it's icy, but it's melted and frozen, it can be painful to walk on.
Absolutely.
So you want to be careful about where you're walking your pet. So
yeah,
wonderful. Is there anything else you want to let our viewers know before I let you go?
I don't know. I think we pretty much covered it. Like I said, if you're thinking about a pet for Christmas, for the holidays, make sure you do your research.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
My guest today is Cindy Sherman. She's an animal control officer here in the town of Barnstable. Now let's take a look at next week's board, committee, and commission schedule. Thanks for joining us today. We'll be back on Monday with an all-new show. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Beal.